Right. And Elder John Nganga, uh, are you on social media or Elder? And if so, which one?
First of all, define social media so that I don't go the way the previous. Remember, the previous person is having to go around. So first of all, define social media and say, are you in one of them?
That is very wise. That is a lot of wisdom right there. A lot of wisdom right there. All right. Thank you. We're good to proceed, and I think let's start with where Elder John Ganga has started. So let's go to slide number 2. Social media is any digital tool that allows users to quickly create and share content with the public. It encompasses a wide range of websites and apps. And what makes it unique is that it is both broad and relatively uncensored. All right. So, Elder John Ganga, we are back to you. With that definition, are you on social media? And if so, which one?
He has a website. I don't know whether that is social media.
I believe already, I don't know whether I normally said Kenudia some things on WhatsApp. And that is certainly social media.
Yes.
So, and I'm very active, very, very active.
Great.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. So let's start here, and thank you again once, everyone. Adrian or Anderito, whoever is sharing, thank you very much for just bailing me out. And I wanted to say one more thing on slide number 2 before we go to slide number 3, is that while many social media companies impose some limitations, such as taking down notes or anything that they consider is not right, generally there are very few limitations when it comes to social media. And compared to mainstream media like newspapers or radio stations or TV channels, you can post anything. And I guess that's something all of us know, that you can post anything on social media. In fact, if you remember how the former president of the United States ran his life, his campaigns and his life, he actually got off the mainstream media and was actually very big on Twitter. So big that I think after the presidency, Twitter had to flag his handle, for they were not happy with how whatever he was communicating or sharing. So let's go to slide number 2 on types of social media. Facebook, very popular, or rather popular with adults. I was speaking to my sons, both of them are in their teenage, and they told me that Facebook has been left mostly to adults. They think it is for the old people. So I think anyone who is an adult mostly would be on Facebook, although some of the adults are not actually much on Facebook. We have Instagram, very popular with the young people, 12 to 18 years. You'll either hear the young people talk of IG or Gram. When they talk of IG or Gram, just know they are talking about Instagram, and it is very, very popular, extremely popular with the young people, extremely popular with the celebrities and artists. Of course, WhatsApp, most popular, and the main reason is because it is internet-based. It is popular for the young people. The young people don't have a lot of money to buy airtime. And so with just a bit of bundles, and especially as in some homes where there is internet, they can actually get to the net without really costing too much money. Of course, we have TikTok. TikTok has grown very, very. The popularity right now is universal. Whether it is young people, adults, you'll find a lot of small clips, very small videos. TikTok, of course, Twitter. 16 plus. Apparently, it is popular, especially I hear with the university students. Twitter, and of course, some of us are big on Twitter also because of news items. We don't have to wait for 9 o'clock or 7 o'clock. The so breaking news actually happen right on your face when you're on Twitter. So you just need to know what is trending, And once you know what is trending, you're good to go. Then, of course, there's Snapchat. Snapchat 25 years and below. The most amazing thing about Snapchat is you're able to send a photo that actually disappears within a certain amount of time. You can allocate the amount of time that the photo is going to appear on Snapchat. And it is a preferred mode of sharing photos by young people. But it comes with a challenge because although they think that the photos will disappear, they have other friends on the other side who decide that they will just take a screenshot. And once they take a screenshot, even if the photo disappears, the image will remain with the person who made the screenshot. Very, very tricky and dangerous because you hear a lot of photos that are shared, especially photos that are nudes. You hear people wondering how their nudes got to be shared everywhere, and it's because they shared it with someone who actually took a screenshot and then they actually kept that in their records. We have Telegram. The main difference between Telegram and WhatsApp, by and large, they operate the same. But Telegram is like WhatsApp, running on a different platform. But what Telegram does is that it allows unlimited number of people. Unlike WhatsApp, that probably will tell you that this group has enough people. Telegram does allow. In fact, you'll find people who do a lot of large meetings, they will actually go to Telegram. And it gives them the same privileges like it would on WhatsApp. Of course, YouTube. We all know about YouTube. Lots of videos are posted. A lot of musicians, a lot of young people, you'll find them on YouTube. Let's go to slide number 3. Just a bit on slide number 2. I've just remembered something here. The worldwide social networking platform industry is big. It's a big industry in terms of dollars. Currently, it is estimated at $939 billion, or rather, by 2026, it will have grown to be a market of $939 billion. And the rise in demand is not just for the millennials, but has risen. One of the reasons that has made the social media to be so popular is because huge companies have actually taken over those platforms for purposes of e-commerce. So you'll find any serious business in this world is on social media. It could be Gram, it could be Twitter, it could be Facebook, but you will find them there. If you just click, you'll find a lot of sponsored messages. Every time you see a sponsored message on Twitter, on LinkedIn, or on Facebook, or even on Instagram, it actually tells you that is an advert. It has been paid for specifically to appear, to be optimized and appear. There are those who consider social media as a waste, as a time wasting. I don't know if they are here with us, but there's some who consider it as time wasting. There are some who consider it is not for mature people. People who are mature should be serious, reading newspapers, not reading Twitter. People who are mature should be watching TV, not watching YouTube. Those kind of things. Watu wamekomaa si watu wa social media. There are those who consider it as not for mature people. There are those who consider it is just for entertainment. Really, there is nothing much you can get in social media. You just want to laugh a bit, just go to social media and you find the laughter. Of course, there are those of us who are very deep Christians and consider it unspiritual or even demonic. If you want to know where the devil lives, go to social media. No, those of us who are deep, what wandani, that's the kind of things we look at, and we say maybe that is where the devil lives. However, due to COVID-19, even the deep Christians had to shift to social media, if you realized that. I'll get back to, I'm still on slide number 2. Even those who are deep Christians had to shift to social media to reach to the congregants. And those who regarded it as worldly, as carnal, and unspiritual, had to start figuring out what is FB Live, what is Facebook Live. They had to figure out, hey, my goodness, how do you use this YouTube to preach the gospel? Because all of a sudden, you were used to seeing people, as in 2020, 2021, you were used to having people just come on a Sunday. Now they can't even come on a Sunday, and you had to go to your small phone, and everybody became a videographer, everybody became a YouTube master, everybody became Facebook something. Almost all the preachers had something that he was running, and it was nice because, of course, some people used to say on Sunday they had an opportunity to listen to other preachers. When you're in your church on Sunday, you only listen to your preacher, and if you have issues, you can't do anything. You just sit there. But these ones were telling me that when they were at home, they could listen to a certain preacher, and if akisikia mambo ingiani ana shift tu anatafuta mwingine yule ata minister hiyo siku. It's very interesting. Maybe that would require some little bit of research to find out why they were shifting from their main preachers on Sundays and looking for someone in Brazil. Very, very interesting things that were going on. Let's go to slide number 3 or slide number 4. Oh, yeah, that's the slide. Just to give us a glimpse of what is happening in the world of social media, Facebook, as of January, these are very, very fresh statistics. January this year, Facebook had 2.910 billion monthly active users. Please note, monthly, that is every month. 2.9, that is 3 billion people last month, March, were on Facebook every month. YouTube, the potential for advertisement was 2.56 billion. WhatsApp has at least 2 billion monthly active users. IG or Gram, potential advertising reaching 1.4. TikTok had 1 billion. As I told you, TikTok is growing. It is coming up very fast. Give us the next slide, please. Snapchat's potential advertising reach was 557 million. Let's go to the next slide, for more stats. Then Telegram, I told you it's also big, 550. Pinterest, for those who didn't know, Pinterest is a social media, 444 million, and Twitter reach was roughly 436 million. Now, don't move. Let's stick to these numbers a little bit. If such huge numbers are on social media, I think the big question to be asking is, where are the ministers of the gospel? If 2.9 billion people on Facebook every month, are the associates of KSCF and the patrons among the 2.9, or are those 2.9 left by themselves? And if we have 2 billion WhatsApp users on WhatsApp, are we taking advantage of that? What about TikTok? Growing very fast with 1 billion monthly active users. Are we having anything? And I pose a question at this point. Matthew 5:13 and 14 calls us the salt of the earth and the light of the world. And does earth and world include the social media? Because I'm seeing there are so many people who are on the social media. When Jesus invites us to be salt of the earth and the light of the world, does that include the world of the social media, or that only includes the world where we can see and touch? And of course, I pose another question from the Great Commission. Does make disciples of all nations in Matthew 28:19 and 20? Does that all nations refer to social media users? I think that's the kind of stuff that I want us to be looking at, and the reflective questions we'll be looking at. When the Bible talks of go ye and make disciples of all nations, and the word there, nations, is ethne, which basically means people, are the people in the social media, are the 436 million Twitter users, are they part of the Great Commission that is referred to in Matthew 28:19? Let's carry on to the next slide, please. Top 5 reasons for media use. Top 5 reasons are: it's just basically keeping in touch with friends, 48%. Filling spare time, 36%. It's interesting that sometimes what we call spare time may not necessarily be spare time. We are living at a time when people go as a family for a meal. Everybody has their gadget. And interestingly enough, they all eat the food. They ask for their food, and then they take the food, a photo, and share. And they share a photo, the photo of the food, with everyone else on the table. Yeah, actually, instead of just talking about the food on the table, they would rather just take a snap and share it. You know, that's I don't know if that's filling spare time or what's really going on, but that's 36%. 35% reading news stories. I can confess here that I spend, I am among the 35%. I do read most of my news items from Twitter. Actually, the TV in our house is more or less there for once in a while big screen movie, but not really for news. We break with the news as they break. You know, we know what coalitions are doing as they do it. We don't wait to hear at 9 o'clock something that happened at 9 p.m. for something that is 9 a.m. in the morning. No, we just go with the flow. Then, of course, finding content, that 1.6%. And there are those who are seeing what is being talked about, which is 29%. The social management market size is projected to grow from USD 14.4 billion in 2021 to 41.6. Globally, users spend 2 hours and 27 minutes per day on social media. This is just on the average. That globally, we have 2 hours and 27 minutes per day that is spent on social media across the world. And I'm reading you very, very latest statistics. Slide number 7. Let's focus on our country here. What's going on in Kenya? In Kenya, by January 2021, I couldn't get the stats for January 2022, but 2021 is not too far away. There were 21.75 million internet users, and internet penetration in Kenya stood at 40%. And basically, you need to look at this as ministry opportunities. What does this mean to you as an associate and as a patron? What does this mean to you? If we have internet penetration in Kenya at 40%, does it mean that potentially there is 40% chance if we were on the net of actually reaching out to the people more? And social media users is 11 million. 11 million. I do not know a church in Kenya that has 1 million people. I don't even know a church in Kenya with 500,000 people. I don't. But their chances are, if someone was taking advantage of the social media, probably you could hit 1 million or 2 million. Well, I know we love to see them touch them, but I'm just giving us the reality of where we are today. The number of social media users in Kenya increased by 2.2 between 2020 and 2021. And on average, now this is coming down to the group of people that we minister to through KSCF. Teens, I say us because I've been part of you, and I really feel the ministry is still part of what is going on. Teens in Kenya spend 7 hours and 40 minutes daily. Now, that is on average. Imagine that every day, a day like today, 7 hours and 40 minutes of the time of today was spent on social media. And I can imagine now, with the schools closed, with the schools closed, they must be spending more time than the 7 hours that are stipulated here. It does appear that most industries have found their place in the social media. My question is, what about the church? Most industries have found their place in the social media. What about the church? Luke 16 verse 8 is very interesting. And Luke 16 verse 8 talks about the children of this world are in their generation. I'll be coming to that in a moment. Luke 16:8 is where I'm reading. The children of this world are in their generation wiser than the children of light. And my question is this what we are experiencing with the children of the world, strategically positioning themselves in the social media? Very strategic. While the church that you and I are either keeping off or actually feel very reluctant to take advantage of the social media. With COVID-19, it looked like the church at last would take up the socials. Now, this is Derito, this is for you, of course, everyone else. The social media, you'll always see about the socials. You know, when they are referred all together, they are just called the socials. The church, COVID-19, the church at least took advantage of the socials. However, with the easing of constraints, we are back to normal. Very, very back to normal. Perhaps in a few months, some of the virtual congregations will be orphaned as ministers go back to somebody say amen and shake your neighbor, which cannot happen in virtual services. And I think we love that kind of flow. But the question is, if we were on social media before COVID-19 and we were able to reach people that were not even coming in our meetings or in our congregations, what is going to happen to those people when we go back to the 1,000 that we can see on a Sunday, or the 500 or the 20 we can see on a Sunday? And again, I ask a question here. If Jesus was with us today, or Paul, would they be on social media? That's a question for us to think about, to ponder. Would the 12 apostles be in the same WhatsApp group? Just think about it, because there were 12 of them. Would they be having a WhatsApp group or a Telegram? Well, this is not for social media, but just a question. Do you think Judas would be managing a till number of all pay bill? What do you think they would be doing? Would they be on technology? And do you think after he betrayed Jesus, the group would have been notified Judas left? You know, maybe that would be a message for everyone. The social media is huge, socially and economically. Christians have to ask themselves, is it a necessary evil or an evil to be avoided? Is it a necessary evil or an evil to be avoided? Jesus and Paul used unavailable technology because the technology has been evolutions of technologies have been there over years. You know, modes of transport, moving from boats, from boats that are rowed to boats that are propelled by engines. That is technology. Moving from roads that are passing through bushes, and or moving to paved roads like the ones that were built by the Romans. You know, would if they used those. And by the way, very interesting, as the book of Galatians says, chapter 4, verse 4, in the fullness of time. Jesus came in the fullness of time. It is interesting that the coming of the Messiah and the work of the ministry of Paul, they happened at a time when the roads had been put in place by the Romans. And actually, the ministry of Paul happened at a time when there was great urbanization, that the cities had already grown. Interesting for us to note that. Well, again, of interest to KSCF, since we work with young people, is a report that was released by One Hope under the title Global Youth Culture. Give us the next slide, please. And that report was released in 2021, and it covered teens 13 to 19, and this was done in 20 countries, including Kenya. On average, as I said, teens in Kenya spend 7 hours and 40 minutes. This time is mostly spent in gaming, that is playing games, chatting, videos, and social media, just doing some stuff there, or watching or putting out small videos for themselves. It was discovered that of the users, the teenagers, the heavy users of internet among the teenagers, 53% returned reports of depression, 62% returned anxiety, 35% talked of being sexually active, another 35% talked of suicidal thoughts or ideation. That is, they had contemplated suicide. And of course, the 12%, the suicide attempts. All right. So that is what is going on in the young people. As I told you, this is a very new report, just came 2021 Global Youth Culture Report. And the Global Youth Report concludes with two things. One is that videos are teens to go They are places where the teens are and a powerful vehicle to reach young people because 94% are engaging with videos every day. As I said, on average, 7 hours and 40 minutes. And there's a good chance that the teen spending a lot of time on a screen might be struggling deeply. Now, those are two things that are concluded from these two reports. That when they look at the depression and anxiety and the sexual activity and the suicidal ideation and the suicide attempts, that 94% engage with videos. And if you want to be there to know what's going on, then actually that is where the teens are, and a good chunk of teens are. Now, I want you to remind us one thing. Just because your teenager does not have a smartphone or access to internet does not mean they don't access internet. This is one of the challenges we have, especially as parents. We imagine that if our teens do not have the gadgets, then they cannot access. Their friends have gadgets. They know friends of friends who have gadgets, and they know neighbors who have gadgets. They know uncles and aunties who have gadgets. And that is how our teens get involved with the social media. Slide number 9, very quickly. What are the benefits of social media? And I'm going to rush through this because I guess we know this in a way. Education, of course, it is being used a lot during the COVID-19. A lot of people had to go to the social media, and they used it and used it well. And of course, there are many parents, meetings, communication, all that. We are in social group, we are in social media. I think even in this case here, we are there for purposes of communication. E-commerce, as I said, in the social media, you can get anything. I think the only thing probably you can't buy is a ticket to heaven, but I think you can buy everything else in the social media. Entertainment, communication, interaction with one another, personal devotions, and church work. Those are benefits of social media. What are the risks? Slide number 10. The next slide, please. If you have any questions, please note them down. I would be attending to them shortly. The media risks, number 1, we have young people living for likes and follows. This is what we call the social capital. Part of the anxiety that comes in the young people's lives is because of when they post a video or a photo and it has not been liked in the following morning, that is a source for anxiety and depression. There are also feelings of inadequacy, poor self-image due to comparisons. They want to compare themselves with somebody they saw who had posted a photo with nice long hair and flawless skin, only to forget that that nice long hair was actually not real hair, with all due respect to people who have to do extensions. And the nice smooth skin was actually done a lot of Photoshop. So a lot of touch-ups. So poor self-image due to comparison. There are a lot of cyber bullies, which leads to low self-esteem, suicide, depression, etc. We have people who have been pushed to suicide because of what, especially body shaming. Body shaming is when somebody posts a photo or a video and people have a lot of nasty things to say about the body of that. And we know young people, teenagers' bodies are always changing. And so you can imagine the pressure a young person is. Another risk is the sexual predators. There are enough of them on the social media. Another one, of course, is pornography, sexting and nudity. A lot of that gets shared, especially on WhatsApp. You'll find a lot of small, nasty conversations that go on. And these days, you can actually put a setting on the WhatsApp so that the messages disappear. So again, parents and those of us who are working with young people, you may not always find the messages because that setting is available on WhatsApp. Once you set it, the messages will disappear. There's a lot of recruitment into drugs, gangs, gay and lesbian clubs. There is, again, is a social risk, social media risk. And definitely there's time wastage, or, there's a lot of time that gets spent. 7 hours, 40 minutes is a lot of time for teenagers on average to be on social media. And there is the costly bundles. Let's go on to the next slide. Why is social media risky? Why? I want to give you the reasons why it is risky. Number one, it is risky because it's popular, it is fashionable. If you're not on social media, where are you? You know, among the young people, if you're not on social media, where are you? If you're not on Gram, if you're not on WhatsApp, hey, where are you then? You know, that is the place to be. And some of us adults actually also flow with the young people. It is an escapist hub, a place to hide. It's a personal world. In fact, we talk about a personal wall. Yeah, we have walls. You have a wall on Facebook, you have a space on Twitter, you have a wall on Gram, that is Instagram. And somebody will tell you, if you don't like what I post, then don't come to my wall. You know, it's become my space. I escape, I run to that place when I want to hide. It is easily accessible. Opening an account is so easy. Age restrictions notwithstanding. Even if Facebook asks you to put your age, if somebody was born in 2016, what would make them put their age that they were born in 1916? The Facebook has nothing for them to prefer that. To look at that. Instagram says the users have to be 12 years, but how do they know the user is not 8 years or 7 years? It is impossible. So it is easily accessible to everyone. Yeah, number 4, it is a free market for criminals. That is why it is risky. Swindlers, conmen, pedophiles, sex traffickers, gangs, terrorists. Is a free market for criminals. You know, somebody just needs to post. And I have read of stories of people who have traveled all the way from Kakamega to Makueni. Is it Makueni or Meru? Just because somebody on Facebook, invited them over. And I read a very sad story of a girl who was raped like 4 times in a night because she had traveled a very long distance to go see somebody she had met on Facebook. So it's a free market for criminals. It is a free market for illicit substances, drugs, and recruitment by drug traffickers. Then it's risky because of misrepresentation. The profiles you see, somebody will post a photo, next to a Mercedes, and they will say this is what they were given as a Christmas or birthday gift, and all their friends will be telling their parents, you can't even afford a car for me or even for the family, and yet for them, they don't realize that the person who actually took that photo, they just went and Googled a photo, and put their photo against it, or they dress themselves up in very nice clothes. Some people, I'm told, they have this tendency of going for window shopping, and they test. When they go to the supermarket, they put on this nice attire. Then they go they are in the changing room. They take a very nice shot. Of course, they come and change, and they put on another. Of course, those shots are remaining with them, and then they post them. And all their friends will be saying, Dad, why can't you buy for me this kind of attire? And this person does not understand the one who posted was doing window shopping. They were just doing that in a dressing room. Another risk is lack of accountability. Very easy to hide. By the way, you can just post whatever, Kikiumana, cut off, throw off that account and start another one. And as I said, it is not strictly censored. It is not strictly censored, rules not strictly followed. And even if you report a post, it may not be taken down immediately. It may take some time for that to happen. I need to be coming to the last set of slides. It is now 8:17. Adrian, how am I doing? Do I continue to the next set of slides?
How long would they take you to get to the end of the slides?
They're about, let me see, there are 3. So I can do a very quick one.
I think just do a quick one up to 20, maybe 20, that is 8:25. That would be good enough. Then we allow questions.
That is good for me. All right. So Now, let me ask a question here. Should children or teens be given smartphones or access to the internet? This is a question for you to ponder. Should children or teens be given smartphones or access to the internet? Why or why not? Maybe you could answer that question at some point as we proceed when it is a Q&A time. But then I have another question here for you. Between teaching them to use internet responsibly or shielding them from internet completely, which one would have better returns? Between teaching them to use internet responsibly or shielding them from internet completely, which one would have better returns? Thank you, Adrian. Those are just some questions for us to ponder. Let's move to slide number 12. How can the risks be mitigated? As I said, there are billions of people, millions of people in the social media. So we need to be where people are. How will you reach to them if you stay away from them? Get that up where the young people are. You know, these days I've had to learn how to communicate, how to send texts on Instagram, because I have a friend who prefers that as her mode of communication, a very young girl. And I've had to learn how to do that. I wasn't used to, but I've had to learn. Yeah, that tells you I'm on Instagram as well, purposely for some communications with some people. So be where the people are. Create physical and virtual friendships. Follow each other on social media. Save their numbers, and you'll always see what they update on WhatsApp status. You know, a friend of mine told me, if you want to know what is going on in young people's minds, always check the WhatsApp status and you will see what is in their minds. They may not post it to anyone, but you can actually see. Now, I want to give us a question here. Create physical and virtual friendships. Don't just jump into Instagram and send follow requests to anyone, or Twitter or Facebook. Please have a form of friendship away from that. Then have a place where you can actually start. Make sure you're not all over their posts, liking and following each post. You know, you don't have to do that. You don't have to like and follow each post. It is not necessary. You just need to be their friends, and you don't need to police them either. But once in a while, randomly, you will see. Matthew 10:16 tells us, be as wise as a serpent, but innocent as a dove. Openly rebuke something you don't like. You know, as you are in the social media, you may see something you don't like. Don't jump with the verses of how people who behave like that will not see the kingdom of God. Please go easy. Go easy. Don't go with the big verses on, you know, don't you know your temples are, your bodies are the temples of the Holy Spirit? Pray for wisdom in a one-on-one moment, and then you can engage with that. However, I want to give a caution here, a disclaimer. Whenever you find a case of harming themselves, or when you post it, somebody has posted, they are going to kill themselves, or they're intending to kill someone, or they're intending to hurt someone, that has to be attended to immediately. Have constructive discussions on social media. Be open to learn, you know, and suspend your judgment. Very, very important for us who are parents and who are adults. Suspend your judgment. Don't be very quick to conclude, you know, have constructive discussions on social media. Then we can go to the next slide. Use the social media for helpful educational, spiritual, and life skills activities. You know, challenge the young people to use it, to learn something. Bible reading, devotional plans, or sermons. You know, you can open a discussion group, a Bible study group on FB, on IG, or even Twitter. You can do that. If you give access to your child to your social media, have very clear terms of reference on consequences of what would happen if the social media are if the references are flouted. Then, of course, model the expected behavior. You know, as adults, you cannot be the person who always posts where you are. I'm now getting into a plane. I'm now getting off a bus. I'm now eating my mandazi. I have just seen a nice something somewhere. You know, if you're going to deal with all that then you have to be careful because they are likely to borrow what is happening. And always share with young people the dangers of misusing electronic gadgets. That is very, very important. Always share with the young people. I think the fines are very crazy from a law that was passed in 2018 on misuse of gadgets. So that be very, very careful. Give me slide number 15. That should be the last slide now. Oh no, I think I need to do this. If you believe the devil is in the social media, take the word to him. If you believe so, take the word to him. And if you believe the social media is a necessary evil, then ride on it and and use its strength to win some people to Christ. If you believe the sinners are all found in the social media, then go and check them out. Jesus was known as a friend of sinners. And if you believe the social media is part of the wider knowledge that God gives to human beings in developing technology, then make maximum use of it. Paul, give me the last slide, please. Paul said in 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 22 and 23, I have become all things to all people, so that by all possible means I might save some. I do this for the sake of the gospel, that I may share in its blessings. Yes, what I mean here is you may not be, very apt and tech savvy, with social media. But Paul says, I have become all things to all people, so that by all means I might save some. I believe if this was to be paraphrased to fit today, Paul would say, I am on social media so that perhaps I might win some to Christ. I am on WhatsApp. I am on FB. I am on IG or Twitter because perhaps I might win some to Christ. In conclusion, the social media world is part of the people that we need to go and make disciples, baptize and teach them. And that is in the Great Commission. The social media world needs the salt of the earth and the light of the world. And that is how Jesus described us, as the salt of the earth and the light of the world. And the social media needs someone to preach the gospel to its people. Because in Romans chapter 10, verse 14, the one I quote here, how will they hear unless there's a preacher? How will they know? How will the billions of people on social media know about Christ if we are not there to minister to them? That will be my concluding slide. It is now 2025 with one more thing to say as we go to a place of questions and answers. If somebody is addicted to social media, it is actually an addiction. When somebody is always there, it is an addiction like any other. And addictions have to be handled with conversations. Addictions have to be handled with therapy. Addictions have to be handled with counseling, because if the mind has been taught or trained, because the mind can be trained, if the mind has been trained to get pleasure from social media, whether they are watching pornography or they are doing small, just an endless conversations, whether it is the so-called fear of missing out, FOMO, then conversations have to happen. But remember what I said, especially when it comes to the young people. If you have to give them, the children, if you have to give them access to smartphones where they can access the social media, then the terms and references need to be very, very clear. One of the biggest challenges we have is us adults who are, once we let the children be and the teens be and do whatever they want. But there has to be terms and references for that to be attended to, and for them to know that there are consequences if rules are changed or not used. But of importance, as I said, let us help our young people know that there are serious consequences for those who misuse electronic gadgets. The fines are in the millions, and the sentences are probably 10 years, especially for cyberbullying and the like. Adrian, thank you very much for allowing me the extra minutes. Back to you for questions or any other connection talks or content that may need to come this way. Adrian?
Thank you very much, Reverend Reo. I will invite James, who shall help us go through the questions. And as he comes on board, I'll read his question. He had posted one. How can you help someone who is depressed as a result of social media usage? There is a case of a boy in one of our schools who wanted to commit suicide because of watching horror movies and seeing a lot of porn. So, Levered, you can handle that, and James will take us through the rest of the questions.
Thank you. I think, as I mentioned, thank you, Nderator, for the question. What we're looking at here is cases of misuse of, over dependence, addiction, and situations of mental health needs to be taken seriously. Remember, as I said, social media is used as an escapism hub. That is where people are running away from issues of life. You don't want to deal with life, you actually run to social media. And in cases that are not very serious, maybe small time conversations, those might work. In cases that are serious to the extent of depression, to the extent of committing suicide or attempting to commit suicide, then they will require therapy. They require to be hooked up. I hope their school has guidance and counseling. And if they don't have counseling and guidance, then they need to be hooked up with a counselor, because it is a mental issue. It's a serious issue that needs to be attended, to look at the triggers, the reasons why they are there, the reasons why they feel they're hooked, and actually to be given tips and ideas of how they can come out of it. Thank you, Adrian.
I'll continue reading the questions. Okay. How does one develop content that will attract people to your message? And as you tackle this one, just in case somebody else has another question, you can type it in so that we can manage time. Thank you. Rev.
All right. Thank you very much. And you've asked a very good question, because when the COVID hit our country, 2020, I think there are a number of people who thought that content is anything. You can just put up anything on social media, and then it is going to attract traction. Well, that is not always the case. I think there has to be a lot of research, and again, working with young people, you have to be researching and asking yourself, what are the issues that the young people are dealing with? What are the challenges that our young people are facing today? Can we approach the messages from the place of a bait? Remember, Jesus was very good with parables, which more or less were baits, and then they would have very serious spiritual implication or spiritual application at the end of it. Can we adopt the style of Jesus, where we are coming in with a case study, or we are coming in with something that the people can resonate with, and then, moving from the known to the unknown? Issues of mental health are very big right now because of the challenges the young people are facing. Drugs, of course, continue to be big. Issues of relationships continue to be big. One of the things we have to avoid is to sound patronizing, because sometimes we sound like that. Interesting things are, young people, they don't want you as a minister to sound like their mother or their father. They know how their father sounds, and they know how their mother sounds. They know how their mother reacts if they were to be on phone for 3 hours, and they know how their father reacts. Now, I'm not telling you to do it, not to react. I'm just saying, if they actually realize that Nderator is another father, or let me use Judy Gashora, please allow me to use your name, or they realize that Judy Gashora is just another mother, sounding like my mother, then most probably they are going to block. So there's a lot of wisdom, there's a lot of researching that has to be done. I think as ministers of the young people, we cannot run away from research. I've just given you some research issues from 2021. What is going on in the teens world? We have to be researching and asking ourselves, what is going on? What are the main issues in the young people's lives? Or even a congregation of adults. What are the main people happening in the congregation that you go to on a Sunday? Sometimes I tell pastors, by the way, I'm a teacher of pastors. I tell pastors, on a Sunday you could be preaching about heaven, And yet people just want to know how they are going to make it through the end of the week. So what they need is something to help them through the end of the week, not about how they will go to heaven. Derito?
That's a good challenge. Anybody else with a question? As I do that, if you can, probably in your notes, you will indicate, especially where you got the source for the heavy effects of internet usage by the teens. That will be very helpful.
Sure, Derito. Just a quick one. I have sent you both the PowerPoint and the notes. Okay. The extended notes. The extended notes have all the references as footnotes. So you'll find all the references. Thank you.
Thank you for your generosity. And I think that answers my another question I wanted to ask. Whether you have sources. Books, but I think we can pick that also from the reference notes. And
sure.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Let me just mention that we have recorded this. I believe so. Adrian will confirm, and we shall share that on YouTube. Also, notes shall be shared in our website, www.kscfkit and .org. But just in case I'm wrong, it will appear on the WhatsApp. I just want to invite one, and I'm glad Judy Gashora, if you can hear me, I want you to just pass a vote of thanks to the speaker.
Derito, you have no intention of going through the questions.
Okay, we had a number of questions. One was a.
Are you on the chat box?
Have you gone to the chat box? On the chat box.
Oh.
Yeah, social media has challenges.
Yes, okay, let me thank you. And sorry about that. Sorry about that. Dominic, okay. Yes, there's a question. Let me just read it loudly. I believe that that teens access the smartphone but teach. Oh yes, that's a response to the question that you asked. I believe that we need to let teens access the smartphone but teach, train, and guide accordingly and watch closely what the teen is doing. I think that is in resonance with what you're talking about, terms, conditions, and ensuring that there are penalties. Then another one. Personally, I'm an addict of social media. I'm on it now and again. I use it to share much. I found myself being pissed by pop-ups mostly. The pop-ups do not disappear even through reports. I feel that that's how the young people are caught up in nudity. So how best can we help? How best can we help as well as the TikTok issue of the youth? And if you can note that, Reverend, let me read the second one. How can a school manage media? Like, put it that way. And also, how can parents manage teenagers use the social media? Allow me to stop at that. I'll read the last one.
Sure. I think on purpose, thank you, Ngugi, for Dominic Amau, I agree with you believe that let teen access the smartphone, but teach, train, and guide accordingly to watch closely what the teen is doing. That is very good. I love using the examples of homes. Homes have knives. Homes have fire. Homes have other things that can actually be used to hurt someone. but we don't throw away all our knives. We don't throw away our jembes. We don't throw away our gas when we have children. We actually teach our children how to use them responsibly. I believe the same principle applies to internet. The same principle applies to technology. You just teach them how to use it responsibly, because you can't throw away your knife because your son has become a teenager. You can't throw it away. Then Googie Roberts, the pop-ups will get you to something that I've had to do on my social media. The social media, they give you opportunities for, YouTube gives you opportunity for restricted modes or safe search. Those are actually provided. Some of them are provided on Chrome. Actually, safe search is provided. You can just activate it. You just need to go to your settings and look for it. Twitter actually allows you to select the kind of words that should not appear at all on your handle. I have done that on my Twitter handle. So there are some things that do not appear. The same thing on Facebook. There are some images I've selected. I just put in a particular word. For example, I will put nudity. So anything that has the word nudity will not appear on my Facebook wall. It will not appear on my Twitter. And actually, it tells me that this is a restricted mode. You can also work on your WhatsApp. Make sure that your WhatsApp is not on autoplay, on auto download, where every photo that is sent your way, it is downloaded, or every video that is sent your way downloaded. You can activate that in your settings, and you will not see that. The same thing happens on YouTube. As I said, you can put it on a restricted mode. Some might pass through, but not all of them. Also, both Firefox, Chrome, they allow you to put add-ins to block pop-ups, and especially pop-ups that you don't like, you don't want, so that you can actually do that. So I just invite you to some little exercise here. Check a little more on all the settings. You will find there are actually opportunities for you to restrict what can come on your computer. My computer, especially because of the work I do a lot, writings and working with young people, sometimes it will bring me some crazy messages. I put in some add-ins, and they have helped my mind to remain focused. So yeah, please do that. How can a school manage students' use of social media? Thank you, Elder John Nganga. They are number one. I don't know. Most schools will not allow students to have phones in school. So usually some of these challenges are mostly at home. However, between the school and the parents, there are apps that people can subscribe to. And one of them that is pretty popular, and I've just typed its name on the chart, it is called Custudio. And what Custudio does is that it helps to track what the young people are, where they are, not just the young people, whoever is in that, even the adults. It just helps to know what are they searching, screen time, how much time has been spent on screen, what websites have been accessed, what social media has been accessed. That is a conversation, a collaboration that needs to happen between on the two questions: how can school help, how can parents manage? That collaboration is required for that to happen. It's a very friendly app that can be used as a collaboration between the parents and the school. However, on the parents, I want to emphasize one thing, that there has to be conversations that are continuously going on in the home. And some of those conversations have things like what can be posted and what cannot be posted. For example, can a child post their home address? Oh, I stay in this place, in this house number, blue gate, tall maembe tree. Can a child post that? What are the risks if they did that? Can a child post their school time? I go to school at this time, I'm picked at this time, or I'm dropped, my dad or my mom picks me. That is one of the ways that the kidnappers and pedophiles and sex traffickers and human traffickers, that is how they're able to track children, to track students. So you have to agree, what are the consequences? Yes, you have a phone you're using, but what are the consequences if you ever did that? But before you get to the consequences, the conversation needs to have happened before. Not just that somebody says, can I use your phone? And you have no idea what they're using your phone for. Only for you to notice that your phone actually can be tracked as the phone that was used to send nudes to another person in another school. And you know what? When the security officers follow up on the phone, they will actually follow up on your phone. Not because they don't know the child. They just follow up on your phone. I think that it ties up to the two questions you had asked, both on the school and the parents. I think on the notes, positive and negative uses of social media, they are right in the notes. And I think when Anderito shares the notes with everyone, Elder John Nganga, you'll be able to find the notes as I have shared them today.
Please note the word is summarize. That I'm helping you to conclude your talk. The question is supposed to give you an opportunity to conclude your talk.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right. The benefits of social media used for education are big in business. As I said, all the big businesses are there. Of course, entertainment, we all want to laugh once in a while. So if you want to have a laughter moment, you can actually get something to make you laughing and rolling on the floor, as we say. Of course, communication, interacting with one another. Families have a lot of WhatsApp groups these days. And by the way, you can actually, Derito, probably you know this, if you don't want to be put in all the groups, you can restrict your WhatsApp so that nobody puts you in a group of fundraising for anything, or I don't know, whatever. That is something you can actually do so that you're not put in all the groups. People have to request you to join the groups. And as I say, the personal devotions, the Bible, there's one. It actually operates like social media. The U version, I love it. I love it. I do my devotions from there. They have short devotions. They have long devotions. They have studies. Whatever you want to do, you can actually do it on the move. On a U version, they have audios. If you want to listen to the Bible, maybe you're in traffic, you can actually do that on a morning instead of listening to some of these crazy fellas who come on the FMs. You can actually fill your mind with the word in the morning. And of course, as I said, church work. So those are the benefits. A quick summary of social media. The risks is. We talked about social capital. Social capital is where people are living for likes and follows. Then, of course, because of comparisons, there are feelings of inadequacy, poor self-image, low self-esteem arising from that. Cyberbullies are huge, and body shaming, as I mentioned, is one of the biggest things. Somebody posts a photo imagining that everyone will be happy that they wore a short black dress. But everyone is talking about their head or the size of their ears, and that doesn't augur very well with people. Another risk is sexual predators are huge. I just told you of a case of a young girl who was raped severally on one night because she had gone to a place just following up on somebody who had invited her through Facebook. The pornography, sexting, and nudity. Sexting is a common word, is a buzzword, popular from about 2016 thereabout, I think. I've just posted it there because this is text that has a lot of sexual connotations or innuendos. Then I said it's a world of it's a world of gangs, drugs, gay and lesbian clubs, recruitment and grooming happens a lot in those areas. I mentioned about time wastage, and I said, of course, internet is not cheap, it's costly. So they have to be looking for the money, or they have to use your phone, or you have to be paying for fiber every month so that they can access the internet. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Reverend Leo. I want to, at this point, invite Robert. Robert Ngoge, are you in the house? You can just unmute.
Nico.
Okay, I want you to thank the speaker. Robert Ngoge is one of our officials that in the county and helping to organize for trainings. And I just want you to thank the speaker. And as he thanks the speaker, I want to just alert everybody that again, we shall post these notes, send them through, post them in www.kscfkit.org, and also the recording that will be done on YouTube. That has been done on YouTube, it will be posted on YouTube. Thank you, Robert. And as you thank the speaker, I want you to pray.
Okay, thank you so much, Reverend, for the sharing. It was quite work well done. The researches that you've done, God bless you so much. And at least we can be able to relate with all that you have mentioned. It is a big area that needs to be addressed. And thank you so much, because those are eye-openers to what is really happening around us, in us, and even in the students that you are handling. Thank you so much, Derito, because also that's an addition of what you handled during the convention. At least from today, I can be able to have a relationship of what you mentioned and what the speaker tonight has spoken. For all of us, let's continue engaging ourselves in what is right and also encouraging young people to go through it. And with that, I beg to pray. Let's pray. Father, in the name of Jesus, we are grateful so much for giving us an opportunity to listen to your word and an encouragement from your servant. Thank you for allowing him and using him, oh God, to minister to us tonight. How I pray that whatever we've listened to and the insights that we have received, that we will go an extra mile into helping this young generation. I thank you and I worship you because you're great God, and that in everything that happens, you always have a purpose for us. Bless us even tonight. Let your glory continue, dear Lord, to be together with us and to be experienced in everything that we do. Receive all the praises and honor, for this is our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
Amen. The Lord bless you. Degwa, we have